just sausages.
But if I fight Ilia or Arman, I'm on it absolutely rinse their lives. I'm going to respect Ilia, but we've had beef for years. I think he's a little helmet. Oh, I'd love to fight him and give him shit. Arman Tsarukyan, I've got no respect for at all. He's just a rich kid who's like, daddy's a millionaire. You know what I mean? So I didn't quit on me stool like a bitch.
No, see, this is part of the stuff I wanted to ask you about. What are your thoughts on Ilia right now?
He's a little bitch, lad. How can you sit there and call yourself a world champion and quit on your stool when the going gets tough? You know what I mean? You don't do that. Real fighters don't do that. I know I beat Ilia and Justin Gaethje beat me, so it was a no-brainer for me that Justin Gaethje beat him. And I don't think Ilia's ever going to come back the same.
Does what he's also really good at and submits him.
Or maybe he's more patient with his attack.
Moving his head more, kind of like
empty the gas tank in the second round when he has him hurt.
Can Topuria bounce back and be the same guy and have that same aura, same persona?
I see Ilia is a good fighter, bro. He's hard. He have good punch, he have good wrestling, good skills in the ground. But if he focus again, maybe he will be champion again. I don't know.
And I think, of course, Ilia would entertain because that's a matchup that puts him back up there. That's a matchup that if he potentially is victorious in that, Ilia's back. And looking for that opportunity to potentially fight for his title again.
Ilia Topuria is still, in my book, the #1 fighter in the world. I promise you guys, when the comeback comes, you will see what happens. Paddy Pimblett, fucking Islam, Usman, fucking Gaethje, it doesn't matter who.
Even after everything that happened, Joe Rogan continues to speak extremely highly of Ilia. Rogan has gone as far as describing him as one of the elite fighters competing in the UFC today.
That's how good Ilia Topuria is. That's how good Ilia Topuria is. Ilia Topuria, in many people's eyes, is the most skilled of the new generation, and the new generation is the most skilled of all time. And Ilia was like the top of the mountain. And most people thought that he was going to be too much, and he was too much for.
When reflecting on that crucial moment, Joe pointed out that although the result was devastating, the decision could ultimately prove to be the smartest choice Ilia had available if he wanted to set himself up for a successful return.
But I think maybe more significantly was the eye damage. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. His nose was fucked up. He'd taken so many punches to the face, and it looked like perhaps orbital damage, like maybe he had a fractured orbital because his whole thing had just swollen up on both sides. He was unrecognizable. And, you know, the guy hung in there as long as he could. But when you can't see, you can't see. And when you're that battered, sometimes it's smart to stop. And he's a very smart guy. And I think he realized, like, I can't defend myself right now. I can't see. This guy's smashing me. Let's call it a day. This is what it is. Let's preserve my body and my brain and rebuild and come back another day.
Ilia to make a truly dominant comeback, Rogan says two major factors will matter. He will need exceptional ability, along with the tactical awareness required to manage his energy and prevent exhaustion from becoming a problem.
Him and Ilia's left hook is phenomenal. That left hook to the body.
Ilia just does such a good job. Once he gets going and he hits a slip and he's just like, bink, bink, bink. It's almost like Conor-esque, the way he just lines up his shots. Vintage Conor, like Eddie Alvarez.
Compared the performance to the old-school Conor McGregor style, particularly the version fans remember from the Eddie Alvarez fight. But his criticism went beyond tactics. Rogan also questioned whether Ilia should remain in the same weight division, suggesting that dropping down could potentially become a major factor in his future.
He's that talented. If he takes the right lessons, that's going to be a super inspirational thing to overcome. It's going to be hard, but I sure hope we get to witness that.
I wonder if he's going to stay at 155. There are big guys at 155, and he wasn't that big for 45. You know, when you think about weight cutting in the modern era.
Jermaine Sterling has also spoken extensively about what could come next for Ilia and what fans might eventually see when the former champion makes his return.
Going in there doing this to Topuria. Can Topuria bounce back and be the same guy and have that same aura, same persona that people are going to step in the octagon with him and be a little hesitant to want to go in there with him because of what he's done in the past, but then also knowing that, just like us, man, he puts his fucking pants on the same way we do, one leg at a time, unless he could jump and put both on at the same time.
Although Sterling remains optimistic about Ilia's chances of coming back successfully, he also identified several important errors that Ilia simply cannot afford to make again. Those same mistakes played a major role in the problems he faced previously.
He got ahead of himself too. I felt like he was trying to put an exclamation point, bow tie, ribbon on the finish, where he could have submitted him or maybe just go for the TKO, but instead he went for the Khabib-like mounted triangle that Khabib hit on Gaethje, and he was in the same position, was going for the same sequence, and I go, brother, this is either going to be really dope or it's going to be the reason you lose. And he lost the position. Gaethje gets back up, and man, just everything he did in the approach. If they had a rematch, maybe the fight goes different. Maybe Topuria, if he does, he takes him down and does what he's also really good at and submits.
Joe Rogan and Sterling aren't the only major names supporting Ilia. Islam Makhachev has also shown his support, making it clear that he would like to see Ilia return to competition and eventually fight his way back toward championship status.
What do you think happens next?
Sure, he will back, you know, because he's still young, bro. He have time, and I hope he will come back and show good performance, because I see Ilia is good fighter, bro. He's hard. He have good punch, he have good wrestling, good skills in the ground. But if he focus again, maybe he will be champion again. I don't know.
Okay. Do you think?
But this fight changes his life, but we don't know which way.
However, there is one major adjustment Islam would need to make. A completely different approach would be necessary. The idea is that he must reorganize his priorities and eliminate the overconfidence that became such a major issue during his previous fight.
Honestly, I'm surprised, because if you ask me, I choose Ilia. But you know, when you sound like, when you become champion and you like lose the focus, it's happened, bro. It's happened. This is very dangerous sport, and I think what's happened with Ilia, he just underestimated him because he thinking he can beat him easy, he can knock him out, he believe his power, but Gaethje is the real dog, you know. He can fight all night, and what's happened with Ilia, he spent too much energy, try to knock him out, try to land some hard punch, and he become tired.
When the discussion turns toward Ilia's next chapter, Demetrius Johnson has also offered words of encouragement. Mighty Mouse expressed sympathy for the setback and predicted that Ilia could eventually return considerably stronger than before.
I'm stronger.
Like, I'm still a big Ilia Topuria fan. I think he's going to come back stronger than this. I think he just came and fought Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje was just on that night. Khabib said it. Patty said it. Everybody said it. Tony Ferguson said it. Everybody says that this man hits like a...
His manager, Ali Abdulaziz, has also made his position clear. He has predicted a major comeback for his fighter and believes Ilia will return with the intention of running through anyone placed in front of him.
Yeah, is he going to come back more timid? Is he going to come back more aggressive? I mean, having your over the room broke, being knocked out, being finished it can definitely be.
Also an interesting prediction regarding Ilia's potential next opponent. Alexander Volkanovski has discussed the possibility of Ilia facing Justin Gaethje and believes Ilia would have the ability to control that matchup if it ever became a reality.
Ilia Topuria is still, in my book, the #1 fighter in the world. I promise you guys, when the comeback comes, you will see what happens. Paddy Pimblett, Islam, Usman, Gaethje, it doesn't matter who, doesn't matter when, okay? You guys will see a masterclass. That's what that...
Volkanovski also went through the details of what went wrong, identifying the individual decisions and errors that contributed to the defeat. More importantly, the focus was on understanding those problems so Ilia can make sure the same sequence does not happen again.
What do you think happens if they fight again? Do you think it's the same result? Do you think Justin's just a bad matchup for him, or he figures it out?
No. I don't think. I think if he fights the right fight, he will learn a lot from that. I think Ilia wins the rematch, and that's that's no knock on Justin at all. It's just like, obviously Ilia was a favorite for a reason, but I just think that Ilia, if he doesn't rush as much, fights at a little bit better distance, and then does what he usually does, sets up nice traps, he'll eventually find him. But yeah, being so aggressive is sort of what cost him, I believe.
Alexander Volkanovski isn't the only fighter who believes Ilia has a realistic route back to the top. Jon Jones has also discussed his potential comeback, particularly emphasizing the extraordinary mental strength that could help Ilia recover from the setback.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean by rushed it. Like he rushed it as in, I'm getting the finish, I'm getting it straight away. You know, it's a White House card, you know, let's put a finish on, let's another first round knockout. You know, he had that sort of, he would have been confident. He definitely could have pulled that off. But if you don't, you know, it's all right fight's the right fight. You know, you will run into shots, run into punches, and you will gas. And that's sort of what happened. So look, it was a risk and a risk that Ilia took, you know, and that was a choice he made. And it could have paid off for him. You've seen him, he did hurt Justin a few times.
Jones was equally direct when discussing Ilia's ability. He described him as one of the premier fighters in the sport and believes that once Ilia has completed his recovery, he has the potential to overwhelm the competition when he steps back inside the cage.
Ilia's he's gonna be in a good position. He has faith. He has a strong team. And that's a lot of what it takes. He has a work ethic. I think he's honest with himself. Ilia and I, we share the same agent, and we were talking about him earlier today. And what I heard was that he's humble, that he is honest. He realized that he just didn't perform well. And I think that's the number one step of getting back into the ring in a healthy way. It's the guys that make excuses. That's when it's hard to come back and win that rematch. Guys who just say, you know what, I could have did better. I could have done more. Honesty with yourself is the key to MMA. Knowing exactly who you are, what you've done, what you haven't done. You can't lie once you get in that cage. What's real will come to the light.
Jon Jones has also discussed where Ilia's abilities stand compared with the sport's biggest names. According to Jones, Ilia possesses skills that go beyond the ordinary level and could even put him in the conversation with elite fighters such as Islam Makhachev. Mendes has expressed a similar opinion. Like Jones, he considers Ilia one of the world's top fighters and describes him as an extremely dangerous competitor capable of handling an enormous amount of adversity inside the cage.
If I had to gamble, I would pick...
Continued by taking his praise even further. He believes Ilia could become an exceptionally difficult matchup for virtually any fighter he prepares, making him the kind of opponent that presents serious problems regardless of who stands across from him.
What a warrior, you know. Ilia is a warrior, you know, to keep doing that, because I've had fighters of mine that had their orbitals broken during the fight and they didn't perform to what they would like, because every time you get hit in that eye, it's like a constant surge of pain, you know. And look at all the punches he was taking. He was getting hit quite a bit, and that face area and those general area where the damage was done. You know?
*** interview 18 ***. Kamaru Usman has also weighed in on the discussion, offering his thoughts on the possibility of a future matchup and adding another perspective to the growing conversation surrounding Ilia's next challenge.
He matches up extremely well with every one of those guys. The guy that's going to be the toughest puzzle, in my opinion, is Topuria. He's going to be the toughest puzzle, but we'll get him solved too. But he's the toughest puzzle, and he's the one I would have the most respect going up against. Just me, my personal opinion. Habib's opinion may be different. Other coaches that train Usman might have different, but my opinion is our toughest task that we have to work on is Ilia, and we would do it. I know we would do it, but he is definitely by far our toughest challenge. I feel.
However, not everyone is convinced that Ilia should immediately return to action. Shil Sonnen has raised concerns about the significant injuries Ilia suffered in his previous bout, along with questions surrounding his current level of training.
Usman Nurmagomedov, and why this is about to become a massive advantage for Topuria.
Like I said, there's a lot of fun matchups right now because you're right. If Usman was to come into the UFC, right, I mean, that is a tremendous matchup that I think, of course, the UFC would entertain. And I think, of course, Ilia would entertain, because that's a matchup that puts him back up there. That's a matchup that if he potentially is victorious in that, Ilia's back and looking for that opportunity to potentially fight for his title again.
Joe Rogan took the discussion further by questioning Ilia's overall physical and mental condition. His concern was that if either area remains unresolved, those problems could eventually affect Ilia's performance whenever he steps back into competition.
It was something different. Lifestyle is something different. to achieve the red blood cells, to achieve the lactic acid, to achieve a VO2 max. It gets scientific at that point. Fine. This is still the situation. But the reason I take the time to tell you all of that is Ilia is now going to be removed for a period of time. Let's say his next fight is in 5 months. And I think per the contract, at least mathematically, it's supposed to be in 4 months, right? 3 fights a year, that's 12. So it's supposed to be in 4 months, but let's just say that it's in 5 months. It doesn't really matter. He can't return to the gym. He can't return to the gym for a period of time. And then he's going to be knee deep in doctors and commissions and whatever's going on with his eyes, which we don't know, but we're guessing when we like to play doctor that he's got orbital fractures, which is nothing to mess around with.
There's still a realistic route for Ilia to recover his position and fight for what he previously held. A rematch with Justin Gaethje also remains a possibility that should not be completely dismissed as part of that road back.
I want to bring this to your attention that Ilia Topuria was put in a colossally difficult situation. He had all sorts of things in his personal life that were none of our business, but seeped over. Now it's not just a matter of you're not sparring, you're not in the gym doing anything, you're not hitting mitts, you're not jumping rope, his legs were all banged up, he's not doing running, like he's going to have a period of time off. That isn't going to get him closer to the goal of being able to do what the human body's not meant to do, which is go 25 minutes. But when he returns, it's what he's going to be asked to do.
Ilia Topuria has become the center of constant discussion about what comes next in his career. At the same time, Ilia himself has been unusually open about the difficulties he is dealing with and the process he is using to move forward.
Don't take off the table a rematch with Gaethje. That's the one thing that nobody's talking about. It's very seldomly that we've seen a fight that was as great as that fight and we don't instantly start talking about rematch. But we didn't do it here, and we didn't do it out of respect. It was a respect for what Justin achieved, and it was a respect for what Ilia gave. But that psychology will go away in a few weeks. In a few weeks, you'll forget about the damage. You'll forget about the doctor. You'll forget about the referee. You'll forget about little brother that all said, stop. You'll forget about that. And you'll just remember what an awesome fight that was. So there's a lot of things that are on the table for Ilia, but it's a massive situation of out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Ilia has also discussed the demanding preparation that goes into his training. He explained how he approaches the intense work required for these brutal contests, particularly during periods when a fighter is dealing with the lowest points of his career.
So it changed in 1 second. So it was a little bit hard, but at the end of the day, when something is out of my control, I just decide to do whatever is under my control. And that wasn't. So it came to my life. I had to live it. I had to figure out how I would fix everything.
Training camps will be especially important going forward. And despite the long-running tension between Ilia and Arman Tsarukyan, even Tsarukyan has expressed support for Ilia's comeback. His message was straightforward. This time, Ilia needs to devote his complete attention to preparing properly for the fight.
A lot of things that you have to do when you go inside the octagon. So it's the mindset, it's the preparation, it's your internal conversation, your thought process, you know, because we all fighters, we know, like when we are in the backstage, the kind of thoughts that we face. If you can't beat that, probably you're gonna lose that fight. So that's why all the time when I'm in the backstage before the fight, I know the kind of questions that I used to ask to myself, and I prepare myself during the whole training camp to answer that questions. And usually they are like, if this is gonna happen, what I'm gonna do? If I'm gonna feel tired, what I'm gonna do? If this, whatever. I have answers for everything because I faced all those kind of situations in the
Arman also suggested several possible names when discussing who could potentially be next for Topuria. At this point in his career, the reasoning is that Ilia may benefit from a controlled matchup that allows him to rebuild rather than immediately being placed into another extremely dangerous war.
The phenom that he was going into this fight?
Yeah, he can come back, definitely. And I think the lose is gonna give him a lot of like lessons, not to be like overconfident, respect your opponent, you know, and keep grinding, you know.
So you think like those celebrations before and the Instagram record and all that, he's not going to do that anymore?
He was. I think he was more focused on his media stuff more than training camp.
Okay.
Still, while many fighters have supported Ilia's eventual return, others have taken the opposite position. Paddy Pimblett openly enjoyed seeing Ilia lose and, during a conversation with Daniel Cormier, accused him of being completely artificial, claiming that what fans see publicly is carefully staged. Dan Hardy also criticized Ilia's confidence before the fight, arguing that his mindset and attitude contributed significantly to a defeat he believed Ilia should have avoided.
Paddy is not the best matchup for him.
Why?
After this loss. Because Paddy has a good chin. It's difficult to knock him out. And like 5 rounds, it's going to be tough with Paddy.
So who do you think?
Michael Chandler.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. I didn't expect that. That's it. Really? Are you being serious? I can't, what?
Yeah, why not? Just give him Michael Chandler, come back, knock him out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like they gotta protect him, you know.
Ali Abdelaziz, who is known for making strong statements about his fighters, has also shared his prediction. He believes his fighter Omar Nurmagomedov possesses what it takes to defeat Ilia Topuria if the two eventually meet inside the cage.
I mean, first round, I was surprised at Ilia. Like, he was walking at Gaethje like he couldn't get hurt. You know, it was almost like in his mind, he was going to knock him out with that overhand right, and he just needed to stay close enough to start slipping and countering. But I think he took for granted, like, how effective Justin's boxing is. I mean, his jab is so difficult to read. A lot of Trevor Whitman's fighters are. Their jab's so difficult to read that Topuria wasn't able to get his head off the center line. And everything that Gaethje does is so concussive, isn't it? There's just such a thud to it. So I don't even think he was expecting it to be that damaging when he was feeling it. Like, it was doing bone damage as opposed to concussive damage, you know? That's a different kind of power.
Prediction immediately drew a strong response from Ilia's side. The message was clear: his fighter would not simply settle for winning. He would look to finish anyone willing to face him, with Kamaru Usman included among the names mentioned.
I said it, Osman said it. This is just who's the best in the world today.
Okay, all right. So that being said, the best lightweight in the UFC.
I'm gonna tell you something. The fight I want, if he go to the UFC, I want Ilia Topuria first fight. First fight.
Woo!
Why not? Listen, he's a beef there. Ilia created a pie. He put it a pie. The pie would not put it in the oven because he ran out of gas. In fact, just in case, straight up, he ran out of gas. He talk a lot of things. He wrote a lot of checks, couldn't cash. Guess what? I'm bringing the whole fire. And if these people want this fight to happen, we can make...
Now the question is how far Ilia can ultimately go from here. Can he return and once again take control of the division? Share your prediction in the comments. And if you want regular updates on the biggest developments across MMA, make sure to like the video and subscribe.